The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. It was a bitterly cold New Year's Eve. Snowflakes danced through the darkening sky as evening fell upon the city. In the dim light of the street lamps, a little girl walked barefoot, shivering in the freezing air. She had been sent out to sell matches, but not a single one had been bought that day. Her tattered dress barely shielded her from the icy wind, and her small feet, red and numb from the cold, had no protection since she had lost her slippers, one to a carriage and the other to a mischievous boy. Now, she clutched a bundle of matches in her hands, too afraid to return home, for she had not earned a single coin. In desperation, she huddled in a corner between two houses, trying to shield herself from the cruel wind. Her tiny fingers trembled as she pulled out a match. She struck it against the wall, and suddenly, a warm flame flickered before her eyes. In its golden glow, she imagined a great iron stove, its heat reaching out to warm her frozen body. But as the match burned out, the stove disappeared, leaving her once again in the bitter cold. She struck another match. This time, the flames transformed into a vision of a grand feast. A table laden with roasted goose, steaming and golden, sat before her. Just as she reached out to take a bite, the light vanished, and the cold night swallowed the vision. She lit a third match. Before her appeared a magnificent Christmas tree, decorated with hundreds of twinkling lights and colorful ornaments. The tree shimmered in her eyes, and she felt a joy she had never known. But soon, the match burned down, and the vision faded. Then, as she struck another match, she saw something even more wonderful, a warm and loving face. It was her grandmother, the only person who had ever truly loved her, now gone from this world. As she gazed at the glowing match, she felt her grandmother's presence so strongly that she quickly lit all the remaining matches, desperate to keep the vision alive. Her grandmother smiled and extended her arms. The little girl felt herself lifted from the cold streets, no longer shivering, no longer in pain. She was warm and safe in her grandmother's embrace, floating higher and higher toward a place where hunger, cold, and suffering no longer existed. The next morning, as the city woke to a new year, passers-by found the little girl curled up in the corner, her face serene, her lips curved into a faint smile. The burnt-out matches lay scattered beside her. They did not know what she had seen before she closed her eyes forever. They only knew that, on that cold winter's night, the little match girl had found peace at last.